In 12 months, people are going to look back at this transfer window and ask how these 7 clubs got this good without anyone talking about it. The signings are already done. The bargains are already banked. These teams are proof that the loudest transfer windows are rarely the best ones. 1. Bournemouth. Marco Rose's Cherries have made 2 signings that deserve far more attention than they have received so far this summer. Alvaro Rodriguez, a Real Madrid Academy product, arrived from Elche for around €25 million plus bonuses after a season that saw him score against both Real Madrid and Real Sociedad, 2 of the biggest names in Spanish football. He is exactly the kind of forward Bournemouth have made a habit of unearthing before anyone else catches on, in the same mould as previous smart signings that later sold for huge profits. Alongside him comes Antonio Silva, a young Portuguese centre-back signed from Benfica for around €20 million after 181 appearances for his boyhood club, a player who became one of the youngest players ever to represent Portugal at a World Cup at just 19 years old and has long been considered one of the most gifted defenders of his generation. Silva arrived specifically to replace Marcos Senesi, who left Bournemouth this summer to join Tottenham. Bournemouth have replaced last year's defensive exits with real proven quality, and it barely made a ripple across the wider football conversation. 2. Como. Cesc Fabregas has built something genuinely special on the shores of Lake Como, and this summer's business only strengthens what was already an exciting project. Luis Milla arrived from Getafe for just €6 million, fresh off a season where he racked up 10 assists in La Liga, finishing as the division's second highest creator behind only the very best playmakers in Spanish football. Andres Cuenca, a promising young defender out of Barcelona's academy, has also joined for a modest fee, adding further depth to an already impressive squad. But the biggest story is the one that almost got away entirely. Nico Paz was heavily linked with an immediate return to Real Madrid this summer, only for player, club and Como to all agree that he should stay in Italy for another season, with Real Madrid negotiating a new buyback option worth around €60 million, a significant jump from the modest, incrementally rising clauses of €8 million to €10 million written into his original 2024 exit from the Bernabeu. Como will be playing Champions League football this season for the first time in the club's modern history. Keeping their best player while adding 2 smart signings around him is about as good as a summer gets for a club of their size. 3. Nottingham Forest. The scattergun, chaotic recruitment approach that defined Forest's recent transfer windows finally appears to be firmly over. Oliver Glasner, who won the FA Cup, Community Shield and Europa Conference League with Crystal Palace across a hugely successful 2.5-year spell and built a reputation as one of the most tactically astute coaches in the league, has taken charge and immediately brought a sense of clarity and direction. His first signing was Xaver Schlager, a 55-cap Austrian international midfielder who played under Glasner previously at Wolfsburg, served as RB Leipzig's vice-captain, and started all 4 of Austria's matches at this summer's World Cup before joining Forest on a free transfer once his Leipzig contract expired at the end of June. Forest are also closing in on Ousmane Diomande, a highly rated Ivorian centre-back from Sporting CP that Glasner has reportedly been trying to sign since his Crystal Palace days dating back well over a year. This is a manager finally getting the exact players he wants rather than a scattergun list handed to him by committee with little tactical coherence. It shows already in how the squad looks on paper. 4. Atletico Madrid. This is the story of a club turning a genuine disappointment into a real opportunity. Atletico wanted Marc Cucurella this summer, only to watch Real Madrid swoop in and sign him for a fee in the region of £60 million, catching Diego Simeone's side completely off guard in the process. Rather than sulk or panic buy, Atletico pivoted immediately and decisively. They signed Alejandro Grimaldo from Bayer Leverkusen for around €20 million and Morten Hjulmand from Sporting CP for €45 million, 2 excellent additions whose combined cost still comes in below what Real Madrid paid for Cucurella alone. On top of that, Atletico have engineered a bidding war for Julian Alvarez involving Barcelona, ensuring that even if he eventually leaves the club, they extract every possible pound from the situation rather than accepting a discounted fee. Losing out on a top target and still coming out ahead financially and quality-wise is not an easy thing to pull off in modern football. Atletico have managed it with real composure. 5. Bayer Leverkusen. selling Alejandro Grimaldo to Atletico Madrid and Piero Hincapié elsewhere has allowed Leverkusen to bank a significant profit this summer while still reinvesting sensibly in fresh talent. Ibrahim Maza, a young Algerian international, and Christian Kofane have both arrived to freshen up the squad and provide depth in attacking areas. But the real story here is Karim Alaibegovic, an 18-year-old who Leverkusen sold to Red Bull Salzburg for a modest fee last year, then bought back this summer after he exploded onto the scene in Austria with a series of eye-catching performances. He went on to become Bosnia and Herzegovina's youngest ever World Cup scorer this summer, and Chelsea have now submitted bids exceeding €30 million to sign him, a staggering return on a player Leverkusen once let go for a fraction of that figure just 12 months ago. Whether or not that particular deal actually happens, Leverkusen's overall business this summer has been shrewd, disciplined and refreshingly well planned. 6. Lens. Back in the Champions League for the third time in 6 seasons, Lens have celebrated in exactly the right way, reinforcing wisely without overspending recklessly on inflated fees. Michael Keesens arrived from Hertha BSC as a replacement for departing captain Adrian Thomasson, bringing composure and experience to the middle of the park. Thorgan Hazard has also returned to the club where his career began, 14 years after leaving for Chelsea as a teenager, arriving as a free agent following a genuinely productive spell at Anderlecht, where he registered 15 goals and 11 assists last season alone. Both signings carry real Champions League pedigree and tournament experience, exactly what a club stepping back onto Europe's biggest stage actually needs heading into a demanding campaign. Sensible, unflashy business, built around players who know precisely what is required of them at this level. 7. Leeds United. Daniel Farke's side have made the most of their return to the Premier League with genuinely impressive business throughout the window so far. Harry Wilson arrived on a free transfer from Fulham, adding proven top-flight quality and experience without spending a single penny in transfer fees. Tarik Muharemovic followed for £34 million from Sassuolo, becoming the club's second most expensive signing in their history and a player who represented Bosnia and Herzegovina at this summer's World Cup with real distinction. Now Leeds are closing in on Manchester City goalkeeper James Trafford, with City reportedly seeking a fee in the region of £40 million that would make him a new club record signing at Elland Road, after Newcastle United withdrew from the race once the 23-year-old made clear his preference for a move to Yorkshire. That deal, whenever it lands, would give them arguably the strongest overall spine of any promoted side in recent Premier League memory, from goalkeeper through central defence and into midfield. A top 10 finish, once considered a genuine stretch for a newly promoted club, is now a realistic and openly discussed conversation at Elland Road heading into the new campaign. 7 clubs, 7 windows that deserve far more credit than they are currently getting from the wider football conversation. While the biggest names dominate the headlines with astronomical fees, these teams have quietly built something that could genuinely define their entire season ahead. Which of these windows impressed you the most, and which club do you think benefits the most from their business? Drop it in the comments below, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video like this from us. Catch you in the next one.